Hey, it's your boy Sergeant Hooked on Henshin's. So today what we're going to do is we're going to be reviewing episodes 22 and 23 of Zenkaiger. Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. Hope you guys have been watching the content. We did have the Kamen Rider Heisei Week 2 thing come up where I did my Gaim Kachidoki Henshin. I'll be putting that up separately on the channel pretty soon here. And I'm going to also be trying to do a review of the Zenkaiger gear that I got recently. I'll show you what it does in the Geertlinger, what it does in the Geertlinger, and kind of the sounds it makes and what it looks like and how it works. But anyway, so these two were two really good back-to-back episodes. I feel like Zenkaiger was already awesome before the crossover with Saber, and it's just been even on a farther uptick, rise even since then. They've been handling the Zenkaiger gear stuff really, really, really well. So I'm really happy about that. Most of the plot of this episode for 22 has to do with Gawan. It's mainly a Gawan focused, where he is, the main kickoff of it, I think this is the one that has to do with the Zenkaiger gear, like, eating some of his stuff and him getting pissed off about it, and that leads into the whole thing about, like, questioning why does he hate Kikanoid so much, being a Kikanoid himself. And he talks about it a bit more here and there, but we have this really awesome moment where he sees these kids playing at a playground. It's like two or three, maybe four human kids, and then one Kikanoid child, which begs the question, do Kikanoids age the same way? But anyway, and the Kikanoid child falls, and he's like, instantly walks over because it's a kid. And he's like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. And, wow, you're a Zenkaiger. And he's, like, super impressed by Gawan. And finally, Gawan has this moment where he tells him, don't worry, when you fall, I'll be there to protect you no matter what. It doesn't matter that you're a Kikanoid. He doesn't say that, but that's kind of what he means. And he kind of has this moment, this, kind of come to terms with it moment where he realizes that, maybe his, hatred towards the Kikanoids in general was kind of, like, unnecessary and kind of, seeing it as a little more ridiculous and is trying to move past it. A part of it, too, is that he thinks about all the times his team have, like, gotten themselves hurt to help him or to help others or each other, and realizes that that's really important to him. So it's a really good focus episode for Gawan, and I really like that element of it. The World Monster is like this, like, bullfighting monster that, like, shoots a laser out and hits somebody. They get a little hat with horns on it, and it makes them angry. I think most of the team get it except for Gawan. And we also get a final thing between, not a final for now, thing with Stacey and Yatsude, where he tells her, he has another, kind of nice moment with her and blah, 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 and he says, I'm not sure, but I think this might be the last time I get to visit. And she goes, well, maybe it won't. Who knows? Like, you say that for now, but let's hope for next time. And I'm thinking that, again, that they're pulling something here. My theory is that perhaps Stacey's human side is based off of the genetics of Kaito's parents. So he's sort of like a step brother, if you will, or a half brother, if you will, to Kaito, or it's somehow related, because there's way too many, like, looking at his parents and being like, well, he has a human mother, so I don't really know exactly what they're going for with that. Maybe it's just that maybe they made Kaito's parents make the robotic side of Stacey. I don't know. Maybe it didn't. Maybe somehow Brashtar was able to procreate with a human and make a half human, half cyborg, half Kikanoid fucking thing. I don't know. But there's lots of things going on and, like, little elements make you go, So after this, they form Zenkaiger again. We get to see Zenkaiger in its drill form, which just looks like Gozu Drill. Gozu Drill! From Gokaiger, which I liked a lot, of course, because I love Gokaiger. So it goes through and it destroys a bunch of the things that it was creating when it comes to the World Monster, becomes the Kudai Test giant version. It was making, like, I think it was like oven, like stovetops or something, like, to cook people, or to, like, yeah, it was a craziness. It was a crazy episode with that. But anyway, so they end up defeating the monster, but as soon as they do, Stacey comes into it, and so it's Zenkaiger versus Battle Caesar Robo Nisei. It's just got a different helmet, basically, but it's still based off the Battle Robo from Battle Fever J. So anyway, that was the majority of that episode, and then 23 kicks off, and that is mainly focused on the duel that's going to happen between Stacey and Kaito. Kaito starts off saying, hey, whoa, and they transfer him back, they land, and he says, hey, give us a day to kind of recuperate. I want to fight you at full strength, and I promise we'll do this, one-on-one. It's like, okay, fine, blah, 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 meet me at such and such place. And they're like, well, Kaito, how'd you know he would agree to this? He's like, well, because I think he kind of basically says that he feels like, it means my interpretation of it, that Stacey kind of, like, understands people through battle, sort of, and so he wants to give him that opportunity. Because I can tell that, like, I re-recorded this, but when I recording it before, I made the mention that he kind of reminds me of Eiji, Kaito does, where Eiji was able to, like, even with these like awful people he would meet throughout the series, he still would try to understand them and as to why they were the way they were. There's a lot of things in O's that had to do with trauma and PTSD and how that affects you. And I think there's a few elements of that within Zenkaiger because there's stuff that Stacy's gone through that he's not quite ready to divulge yet, but talking with Yachan and talking with Kaito sometimes is starting to bring that out in him, his more human side, if you will. Do I see him redeeming completely and joining the team? Maybe. They could make something tragic where he's about to and he gets destroyed or something like that. But there's something going on, some kind of connection he has with Kaito and Kaito's parents and all of that. So at the same time, we get a scene with Zox and Flint where she says, why did you and Kaito stop and blah blah blah. And he's like, well, I would have kept going, but I also kind of saw that me and Kaito are handling this completely different, and that I don't trust that Stacey won't cheat. But I think that Kaito sees things differently, and he wants to just have a fair fight with him. But that's not how I see it. So I couldn't very well stay connected and fight with him, knowing that. Because when they're connected as Zenkaijuo, they're kind of connected through mind as well. So, kind of like a Pacific Rim type thing almost. But anyway, so after that, we get. I don't think Stacey goes to see Yatsune again, or maybe he does. I think this is the episode where he says the final goodbye to her, or maybe it was previous episode. Either way, we finally get to the duel. So, Kaito and Stacey are fighting, doing their thing. Stacey cheats, of course, and uses the Dark Sentai gears for O-Ranger and Shinkenger and summons them. But then the team comes in, and they're like, hey, we're not going to fight you, Stacey, but we're definitely going to stop, your underlings, if you will, from screwing up this duel. And so they're fighting off them, and then here comes Kaito, or Zox as well, who says the same thing, basically, like, yeah, you should have your own fair fight over here, which I think speaks a lot to Zox, because Zox more is about, like, his straight goal, I don't care what happens type thing. I think he's starting to understand that, like, although he may not agree all the time with how Kaito does things, that being part of this team, sort of, he needs to understand where Kaito's coming from as a person and how he handles things different from how Zox does. So, not only do we get the use of the Dark O-Ranger and Shinkenger gears, we also get the first use of the O-Ranger and Shinkenger normal Sentai gears. That's what they use to defeat them, actually. And use those final attacks against them to destroy those evil versions, copies of the Rangers. Then Stacey, of course, summons battle, Caesar, Robo, Nisei. They form Zenkaijuo. They separate, and we get the debut of Zenkaijuo Super Juran as a mecha form. And then Zox forms Super 2 Kaijuo? Is it 2 Kaijuo? Super 2 Kaijuo? I think, yeah, Super 2 Kaijuo, which combines Katanara Riki and the Zenkaiju gear together, and the crocodile thing all into one robot. Unfortunately, in show right now, they're just CG, which is odd. I don't know why they're not a suit of any kind. I think that's kind of odd for them to be a mecha and not have a suit that they use. But that's neither here nor there. Nothing we can really do about it. Just kind of an odd choice. So they're fighting and everything, and I believe Stacey knocks him out of Zenkaijuo Super Juran out of combination at one point, which is crazy. And I think it's Super 2 Kaijuo that ends up defeating Stacey, I think. I'm pretty sure, if I remember it right. I only watched the episode like once or twice. But anyway, they do end up being victorious against Stacey. And he's kind of flung off, and you're like, what's going on there? And, Kaito says, yeah, I'm glad we had our duel, but I still worry about Stacey and blah, blah, blah. And we see a part where Stacey is like unconscious on the ground, a little bit of blood in his head, and Gege comes through and then like starts laughing or whatever. And I think picks him up or takes him somewhere. At the end of the episode, Ichiru's really mad, and he's like, oh, that didn't work, we'll have to do something else, and Gege brings back Stacey, and I feel like this is the first mention specifically that Stacey is part Kikainoid. They mentioned about Brashitara being his dad and that his mom was a human, but they didn't necessarily say for sure that he was part Kikonoid. But they say that though. He's like, well, if you want me to upgrade him, that's going to be a little harder because of his Kiko. You know, he's a very unique Kikonoid. Um, but to help with that, he awakens something, and it looks like he's awakening Kaito's mom. So again, they're really starting to inch farther and farther towards what we're trying to do with Stacey in terms of his character growth and his development and his arc. Um, I think that it's going to be him dark for a while before he gets broken through to and becomes like a good, you know, entirely good Zenkaiger, if you will. He ends up joining the team and all of that. Um, it'd be odd if he didn't. I mean, I guess he could stay evil throughout, but I also feel like it's possible he'll end up joining. And it might be a situation where it takes a while. Like I know that in Gekke Ranger, it took a while for Rio uh, to become good. I think that's Rio, the basically Daishi's counterpart. So I think maybe it'll just take a while, but I'm really fascinated by how they're doing everything here. The episodes were both fantastic. I would probably give 23 a 10 out of 10 and 22 a 9 out of 10, only because I wish that there was a bit more extra focus on Gawan throughout instead of just like to middle of the episode and then we're done, you know? But 23 was really good, and I'm happy to see where it's kind of going. The next episode has something to do with some kind of vacation monster or something like that. Nothing about Stacey that I saw in the preview anyway. Maybe they'll be in the actual episode. I don't know. Um, but another interesting thing too is that I heard that the voice actor for Gege apparently like recently quit or retired or something like that, and so which is odd because you would think that if what I was going to say is that makes it odd for Gege to have his voice still clearly in the show, but you would think they would have recorded a bunch of stuff ahead of time. And in this episode, he doesn't really talk very much. He just like laughs a bunch and says "Gege" a bunch, which is weird. Um, I do kind of see something that my kind of like underdog theory is that Gege's the true villain here, or is allied with whoever the real true villain is. I'm just not threatened by Bokawas. Bokawas does not seem like a final villain to me. We've not got enough about him to care about him, and he's kind of too big of a giant wall fist face monster thing to care. Like it's funny as a gag and as like a visual thing, but he's not like the deepest character. Whereas we're getting a lot with Stacey and Ijiru and Brashitara that I think that Bokawas is eventually going to get pushed aside or destroyed, and we'll get the true bad guy, which maybe some people have a theory that Gege is going to become his own Kikonoid, or that Stacey's going to get a Zenkaiger like power up that'll involve Gege, or something along those lines. So we'll see. But overall, I'm really enjoying it. I know that I've been saying that week to week with Zenkaiger, but I really am super enjoying the show. It's doing a really good job of utilizing the characters and trying to utilize its own narrative, and the main narrative never feels too overshadowed by what's going on with the characters separately, and I like that a lot. Not every Sentai can say that. Some get a little too far focused on and hard laser focused on the main plot and the characters fall to the side, or the characters and the main plot's way back here, and then we come back to it a long time after. Yeah, I've been really enjoying it. So overall, absolutely awesome episodes. Coming up soon, like I said, I'm going to try to record my review for the Zenkaiger gear, my Toku review on that, and also probably some stuff on. I recently finished Key Ranger, so I want to do some stuff with maybe my thoughts on that. And a few other things. There's some other Toku type stuff I've gotten and stuff like that, and stuff that's coming soon, like the Revice driver and things here and there that I'll be getting that I'll try and do a Toku toy review of. And I've been talking about Toku toy reviews of different things for a while, and I'm sorry about that. I've just been very busy, but things are starting to kind of loosen up a little bit schedule-wise, so I should have a little more time to dedicate towards it. Saber will be done this week, so I probably will, once I've seen the final episode, kind of gather my final thoughts and give my final kind of review overall of it. It's ending a lot stronger than it started, in my opinion, but we'll get more into that later. But I hope you guys are enjoying the content. Thank you so much for watching, for subscribing, liking the videos, sharing it. All of that, it means a lot. Even dislikes, that's fine too. At least it's some kind of engagement. I love the comments. What did you guys think of these two episodes? Do you guys think these are great episodes, or do you guys think one was better than the other? Where do you see Zenkaiger going forward? What are some of your thoughts on that? But yeah, until the next time, stay hooked on Henshins. I'll talk to you later. Bada bing boom bom boom boom. Bye.